Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3, The Override. This is the second letter of the work, and if you remember correctly, W is wake up, which basically means awareness. The biggest thing we have to become aware of is our belief systems that actually are as our roots that set our actionable alignment to those beliefs. The O is all about the override, which in spirituality, it's the biggest thing called letting go. Letting go is going to be the hardest part of the journey because it's almost like the grieving of the past, of what was to what is. See, a lot of times people have the biggest issue with letting go of people, letting go of jobs, letting go of relationships, letting go of habits. But you have to understand that everything vibrates at a certain frequency. So if you want to rise into a higher level and to evolve into a higher state, you have to be willing to let go of who you are to become who you must be. And again, nothing is a must. You can decide if you want to. I have fully decided to let go of desiring people to change, regardless if they listen to my work or listen to other works. That is a limitation within my own self that I just discovered. And again, I don't think I've discovered it. I think I knew it, but now it is the time to let go of that. So for me, as much work as I do, and as much as desire as I want people to understand that these type of things that I'm teaching is for them to elevate them and for them to feel better and actually to become their authentic self, I have to understand that every soul decides and chooses for themselves what is the best thing. Now, I know that what I've done in my last 7 years of life has been in an exponential evolution in my own journey. So I truly know how it feels like now to be living those footsteps where, you wake up every day with passion and excitement. And then again, I want that for everybody, for them to understand how it feels not to care about, their finances and struggles and suffering, and how it is to move in your body and feel energetic and give good energy and be present there with your family and friends. I want people to be like that. But I also truly know that if a person chooses depression for themselves, if a person chooses anxiety for themselves, that is perfect for them. And I will need to let go of my own ego to be able to allow people to become who they want to become at their own timelines. Because again, everybody has their own timelines. And again, it is all a choice for you to evolve and let go when the time is right. So in the override state, I'm going to go through my own level of overrides that I had to, one, become aware of, right? And two, also learn to let go. And then what came out of those. There's instances when I feel like a lot of people can relate to my own journey. And this is why I want to bring back the history. And I also want to touch base on certain things that are happening right now, my current reality. And as I just explained to you, the current reality of letting go of desire for people to change was one of them. So I'm going to go backwards in time. The first time I actually did this work, I would say it is actually levels of it. And what I mean by that in 2017, which I already spoke about, where my life just hit the fan and everything got burnt down, there was a decision that I made consciously. It's either evolve or repeat. And what I mean by that is I had already done the party and darkness scene of alcohol, drugs, sex. I'd already done that. So for me to know that at that point in my life, I had two choices. I could either do the same thing and cope with the same coping mechanisms, or I could do something completely 180 different, which was heal, which was let go of my environment, which was put myself in a state of solitude where I actually get to know myself. And that's the hardest thing, is that most people cannot be by themselves to really truly understand their minds, their thoughts, their emotions. And that's really the truth of everything, is once you start to understand those things, you're able to make different choices. But again, if you're always distracted, if you're always doing the same thing habitually, same people, same environment, same jobs, you're not giving yourself enough space to be able to tap into your own self and ask yourself, what are these things that are showing up? What do they mean to you? And how do you shift and change out of them? That is the biggest thing that I encourage everybody to do when they feel maybe stuck, whether it be energetically or maybe emotionally, all of a sudden a flood of emotional waves of depression or whatnot, and you're like, I'm usually not like this, right? Those are clear indicators that, I don't want to say the word spirit because it throws people off, but that is a thing. It's your own self trying to wake you up into the things that are not feeling right and that are not in alignment to your truest, highest self. So in those instances where you feel that pull down energetically, sit with it and just ask it, you know what I mean? What is this? And how do I shift and change? Like, become aware of it. That's the biggest thing. And through my own journey, I had to overcome these belief systems that I feel like a lot of people might have. One is believing in yourself. You know, bodybuilding was something that was never in my realm of thought growing up, but little by little it shifted as I saw the sport as, you know, and I think like everybody sees it, it's aesthetically pleasing. People want a hot body, and people are like, well, what do I do to get there? It's about building the habit, and it's about building consistency with the mindset. So for you to understand, to undertake any type of health journey or bodybuilding journey, you have to believe in yourself. If you want to manifest a work environment, right? Like a business, you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. Now, again, because there's limitations within us of knowledge, there is this scared little person of like, how? I don't know if it's going to work out. But just know that if you really are truly wanting it and desiring it, you have the power to manifest it. But it is one, finding out how to do it, and two is just doing it. And that's the easiest way to think about anything, is just the knowledge and the wisdom to apply. So little by little, as I started to believe in myself, I started to apply the knowledge that I learned through the journey. It's not easy, like anything, but if you truly want it, you'll have the willpower and the capacity at any level. And I know that bodybuilding was such an investment that really, if you think about it, you don't get back. You do get back in a better mindset and physique and overall quality of life, but you don't get financially whatever you put in. And other sports that you become professional, you get paid very well. For bodybuilding, you're actually spending a lot of money and time and devoting yourself to this practice to be able to get on stage, and little by little you win over time, right? You win your battles emotionally, personally, with your thoughts, and you also become that version of yourself that can compete at a high level, which I've experienced in my own journey. But again, it came with a lot of self-reflection, right? You have to be in solitude to be able to ask yourself the right questions. You have to say, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Are these people around me serving me or unserving me, right? So it's like the people or quality of people around you. Are they helping you or hurting you get to the next level or the next version of yourself? I would encourage highly to invest in coaches, because I feel like in my own personal journey, the coaches is what elevated and excelled me exponentially. It does cost money typically to get a mentor, but truthfully, the return on investment, if you're ready and of making the right actions, if you truly want to change, it is 100% times 10 worth it to invest in yourself. Because again, the more knowledge and the faster knowledge you get, the more likely you're able to manifest those things that you truly want. So override is really just letting go. And in my own journey of bodybuilding, like, explained the belief system of believing myself as one, but two, letting go of my friends and family for 6 months while I was prepping was something that I encourage people to do, but I truthfully know that it is hard, and that most people might not have the capacity to let go of certain friendships, or even your family or friends, or even your parents, because I love my parents, but sometimes they could be the biggest negative critics to your own journey of, like, you know, putting fear of their own stuff onto you. In truth, it's probably more to help. They're trying to help you not get hurt, right? Because in their own journey, they probably had some level of hurt around their desires and their dreams. But truthfully, if you truly want it, let it go. Let go of your family and friends for a while. Let go of the naysayers. Let go of your own fears. Again, you have to become aware of the things that you are afraid of. If you truly want to lead, you have to be willing to speak in front of people. That is just a thing that you have to become a master of. So being in front of people, speaking your truth authentically, connecting with people, those are all skill sets of a leader. So just know that depending on where you're at right now, and depending on where you want to go, there is a level of gap of knowledge, of right characteristics and actual items that will get you there, but it's a progressional approach. So it's something that you could just, you know, cold turkey and be like, from one day to the other, you become that No, you become it over time, little by little, and then you lock into those habits, those beliefs, and those actionable items that are aligned to those beliefs. But again, it's going to take some time, because what's happening is that you will decide to override it at the now moment, right? You're going to let go of that belief that, you can't do it, right? That limitation that says I'm not worthy of it. And then you will do it. You'll show yourself that you're capable to do it every morning, as you go through the day. But little by little, every so often, that old self will always come back and haunt you. And those are the things you have to understand, that you have to have grace with yourself. You will not be perfect at doing the work. And this is why it's progressional. Every day you just get 1% better. And in 100 days, guess what? You probably will get there. And guess what? You still might F up in the future, because we're not perfect. We're here to be more authentic. And if truly we want to do something opposite, know that that is perfect for you. And that's the biggest thing that I had to learn right now, is that as much as I want people to become healthy, okay, I do know that people's environments are not conducive to health. And if people around you are unhealthy, just for survival mechanisms within our own subconscious, we're more likely to be like the tribe than we are going to be individualistic and be like, no, I know that you cook me food, but I have to do this one thing that is good for my health and is step by step getting me to the goal that I want. It is completely hard, because I know I've done it, to say no, because people feel some type of way, right? I would say this for you not to feel bad. People will always feel some type of way when you're doing something different than them, because you are gonna change. And that's the biggest sucks part about this journey, is that you will change different than your environment, and your environment will and probably criticize you. But you have to be stronger than your environment, and you have to be willing to know that you're doing this for a purpose, for your own well-being. And little by little, as you evolve, as you change, as you vibrate higher, whatever term you want to use, you will understand that those people sometimes self-reflect on your own journey, and you're like, you know what, they're doing it, the inspiration, right? They're gonna do it too. And sometimes they will actually throw shade and hate at you, because they realize that you are no different than them. And this is why I personally just put my 25-year-old self picture to everybody, because I was no different than anybody. I was actually probably had the worst cards than everybody around me. I was abused as a child. I was born from an immigrant that had no education base, no knowledge on how to become great or how to build a business. Nothing. Emotionally unavailable parents. You know what I mean? Nobody told me to speak my feelings, speak my truth. Nobody encouraged me to do well in life. But just know that all those things, those bad cards that you got played, that's your adversity. Your soul chose that. And if you're willing to do the work to get yourself out of those states, you will. You will, but it's going to be hard. And for me, this is why I want to encourage people to go to retreats. I'm building retreats throughout the years to be able to get yourself out of those environments that are not conducive to growth, that will not show you the correct habits to build, that there's so many people that just wake up and go with the flow of life that unfortunately has created unhealthy Americans in our society. It has created mental health issues. It's created this society of just numbing and suppressing instead of actually expressing and connecting. It's so sad to go out to restaurants and see all these people on their cell phones, not being present in front of themselves. For you to build a relationship is for you to connect, but for some reason people believe that them connecting on social media, liking somebody's picture, is a form of connection, right? And then on the opposite spectrum, the person gets the like and then gets a little dopamine hit. This is all instant gratification. It's all an illusion. It's not real. Hypothetical, Instagram, TikTok gets banned, then what? People are going to be forced to connect on a different way. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen in the future. I'm just saying it probably won't be a bad thing. All these things subconsciously program a certain way. So solitude, self-reflection, meditation, journaling, this is all keys for you to actually build a better pathway. For one, become aware of your limitations, and two, to override that belief, to affirm something different, so then you can act in accordance to that. Another belief that I had to really let go of as going into an entrepreneur type of mindset from a corporate world, I remember vividly telling myself this story of like, how are my kids supposed to get health care? I had a corporate AT&T job for 10 years, so I was the only one providing that care for them. I had to be like, I don't know how it's going to work out, but it's going to work out. And that's the biggest thing, is like, nobody knows the future. Nobody knows how, but just setting that intention that you do want different is going to be enough, and making the right actionable items to manifest that thing. Now, if in theory I did my bodybuilding journey and didn't believe myself, I would probably self-sabotage going towards it. If I didn't believe myself that I could build a business, I would probably do the same. But know that anything is possible, but you have to be willing to put the right actions over and over and over. The amount of dedication is about really stripping away the old ways. Because what I tell people is like, I was such a party girl. I would give my energy, attention, and time away to people, events, you know what I mean? Drugs, alcohol, sex, all the fun stuff. I would do it all. If in theory I wanted to create something immaculate, what made me think I had enough capacity to build it and still do the things that I'm doing? It's not in relation. You have to pull away, you have to unroot, you have to really take the time back to be able to create something different. And it's unfortunate for me to understand that many people give their time freely instead of really investing in themselves and really just building the right energy structures for their own well-being. Like, I know there's a Mexican mother out there listening to this. This is coming from a Mexican mother, right? That had a Mexican mother. You have to understand that we are programmed to serve others before we feed ourselves. And that is a common thing of like, we self-sacrifice so much of who we are. And that is the biggest thing that I hear from many, many women, is that I lost myself in this relationship. I lost myself in becoming of this mom. And now I'm an empty nester, and now it's time to work on me. But it's like, real talk, you could have probably never lost yourself if you actually just had enough boundaries, which again was never taught to us as Mexican Latinas, unfortunately, and just really take care of ourselves energetically, so when we could be able to give those positive energy frequencies out to others around us. I think that there's a level of like hurt and pain that we all had to go through. And again, we have to learn to override that by letting it go, not just suppressing it and coping with these other mechanisms that feel good at the moment, but by really doing the work, by really opening up and healing that thing, and then truthfully forgiving anybody that has ever hurt us in the past. Know that the override, I will be talking about it in future episodes in a deeper way. And what I mean by that is that we're going to go through energy, we're going to go through some healing of the heart, and we're also going to go through some financial overrides. Like I just explained to you right now, me going from a 9 to 5 worker to a 5 to 9, because when you're an entrepreneur, you wake up at 5 and you're on until 9 p.m. It definitely flips the switch. Yes, you take more risk, but you also get more reward. There's also these positive things that you learn through the journey about yourself. Again, every path will teach you something different, but the override is specific to letting go of the old version, that 1.0 version of yourself that unconsciously was created by your roots, which was from the past. Again, the awareness, the wake up, is you becoming aware of the limitations of the past, whether it be habits, people, places, or even foods, or even your belief systems, to be able to shift and change. And that's the override. Again, when you become that 2.0 version of yourself, you're going to think different, you're going to speak different, you're going to act different, you're going to feel different. I would say that the biggest thing, and it's not culturally, this is actually something vibrationally. And what I mean by that, I mean that there's poor people in every culture, and there's also rich people in every culture or nationality. It's not about the color of your skin. It's about your upbringing and your cards that you were played, your belief systems that were given to you or gifted to you, these adversities that you went through, the traumas, right? Your childhood traumas, your adulthood traumas. All of these things are serving. Yes, they don't feel good at the moment. I know, I get it. But they are helping you develop who you are here to become. And I truthfully know, when you become that 2.0 version of you, which Maslow's hierarchy of needs would call it self-realized, you will be living a happier, healthier life, a one that's fulfilled with all this understanding of self, and just compassion and love and empathy towards everybody else, and truly just walking your footsteps of like, I wake up every morning with amazing energy, doing the things that I love, and giving my gift to the people that deserve it. Now, in my own journey, besides me leaving the corporate world, besides me starting the bodybuilding journey and or entrepreneurship, I would say the biggest thing also is to understand that at no matter what phase of life or level that you achieved, there's another ego that you need to learn to let go of to become a different one. I feel like I'm going through it right now as I speak. I could honestly tell you it's uncomfortable. And it's how you know you're going through it, because you know the awareness within you of the things that you have to learn to let go of will pop up. For me personally, I feel like I've mastered a lot, right? My health is optimal. I have awesome relationships with plenty of women. But the man and woman relationship, right? The Eros type of love, that's something that I have not mastered just yet. And a part of me has to go look within of like, okay, what am I not believing correctly about what I need or what I deserve in this realm of phase of my life. So the healing of my own journey, it's still in process. As I tell everybody, as much as I know, as much as I've developed myself, there's still versions of you that you need to learn to, one, become aware of, wake up, and two, override. Now, once you know to do those two things, you do have to realign, which is, again, the affirmation part of it, the actionable items to get to the right beliefs alignment. We will be talking about in the next episode. But right now, I will tell you that there's two things or three things that popped up in my own journey recently. And again, this is culturally, but then it's also knowing that people might go through this at some level. So a belief system that I had to become aware of recently is when I decided to do a speaking event in front of these, I don't even know if the word powerful or influential people in town would be the word, but knowing that people don't know my mission, don't know myself, sends a level of vulnerability to be able to speak in front of people and be like, hey, I want to help people in this way, and this is what I'm here to do. Because for some reason, I'm a shorter, younger, brown woman, for some reason, in my own limitations, me speaking in front of older white men has been an issue. I remember it being an issue in my 20s when I was part of this networking group that was all older businessmen. I felt different, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that I was the only Latina in this circle. I felt like a part of it was being like felt powerful. But now, as I had the wave of anxiety take over me, I realized, you know what, this belief that I'm learning to become aware of again, I will now decide to let go of it. And again, that's my own work. I think that everybody has their own levels of work to do, and then just me highlighting where I'm at currently and the type of awareness I have to be able to understand that if I don't let it go, it will continue to perpetrate me in the future. So for me, one, bringing awareness, two, letting go, and three, understanding that we're all human, regardless of age, gender, or you know what I mean, social class. We're all the same energy field. We're all the same consciousness. So my just affirmations would be reminding myself of like, you know what, we're all one, and we're all here to help each other out with no attachments that they're gonna, you know, receive that information and utilize it. It's just at its own timing and its own way. That popped up in my consciousness, and again, maybe at some level in the past that served me to believe that, but now it does not. So now it is my choice to decide when the time is right to let it go. I spoke earlier at the beginning of like me letting go of this desire to help people and have them change. And I think that the biggest thing that comes to mind is the Buddhist way, right? So Buddha said this thing where the desire is what we need to learn to let go of. And I feel like when I look at it objectively, it's because the desire comes from the ego. And as I remember my own bodybuilding journey, I let go of being this bodybuilder girl because I understood that at some way I wouldn't be able to let go of the identity of bodybuilding if I kept on winning and doing these things. And personally, I didn't personally like the way it manifested in my body or my face primarily. So yeah, it's just my own self of like, I truly want to love myself, and it's so much more than what I see in the mirror, but I need to truly love what I see or manifest in the mirror, because that is a reflection of me. So again, there's the levels to it, no matter where you're at, whether it be me not even being a bodybuilder, me being an entrepreneur, me being a mother. There's levels of belief systems that we need to learn to break. For me, I have to respect people's timelines. I have to understand that they will gravitate towards me when they're ready, not when I want them to be ready. As I expressed earlier, I want everybody to journal and meditate and figure themselves out and do their work. But that's not on me to help anybody until they're ready to get helped. So that's my own desire that I need to let go of, suppress, and just allow it to flow how it's supposed to flow, and know that it is perfect, because everything already is perfect. Another part of my limitation and I think a lot of entrepreneurs will gravitate to this or understand this. When you're building something out of your heart or out of your mission, you're really attached to it. It's almost like you're creating this thing, this entity. And realistically, just like a child, right? You have an energetic tie to it. You've already invested so much of your life to create this thing. Right now, it's popping up of like, okay, you need to go on to the next thing, and you cannot have this thing hold you back. And I think that is what is hard right now, is that I feel so attached to my women, to my gym, to wanting to help them. But another part of me is like, no, you're here to do something a bit bigger, something more broader, with a bigger spectrum. And if you always play this ego version of yourself, you're never going to be able to manifest the next version that is more broad and can help possibly more people. Because as we know, as we level up, we can also have a higher reach, a bigger platform. And in that, you're able to help people more when they're right or when they're ready, right? Hypothetical, I'm around 80 women, maybe 1% is ready for them, ready for this type of work, right? I don't even know the math for that. Let's say it's 3. I don't know. I'm failing at math right now. This is the realness. And if in theory I broaden up my spectrum to California, that 1%, which is probably still accurate, is a lot more numbers. Now, if I broaden it out to nationwide, that 1% is a lot more people that I help. Now, if I broaden it up to Latin America, that is another 1% that's broader people that I could help. So think about like that in scalability. You want to build some sort of business, you have to be able to scale it at a bigger level to be able to serve more people. Now, again, just depending on the type of business, it might not be able to be a thing where you could scale, but in this situation, you could, with the amount of technology that we have out there. So you have to think different, because sometimes what happens if you're always thinking and speaking and acting in accordance to your environment, like at the local level, you actually won't be able to broaden up your spectrum to be able to be like, okay, this is the way that most people play it at a local business, but guess what? My capacity and my capability is way bigger than this. So why am I limiting myself in this spectrum of just Gilroy, right? Not to say that I don't like Gilroy, not to say that they don't need the help. I'm saying that everybody has the ability to think bigger. And this is the biggest thing with the override, is to understand that, like, actually, Albert Einstein said, you cannot create a different reality with the same thoughts and beliefs that created this current one. You have to detach. That's what the override is all about. Letting go of this version of yourself, this 1.0. And who knows, maybe it's this 1.56, right? I've created myself a couple different times in the last 7 years. So who knows what version I am of iPhone this year. It's the next one. It's the next one. Another one, right? Know that you don't have to ever change your iPhone to the next version. You can keep the same damn iPhone. Yes, the processor is probably a little bit slower than it was. Maybe the camera is a little bit better, right? You are a freaking iPhone. And that's such a big, coolest metaphor to really see it in manifestation. Every year they come out with another version that's just a little bit better. A little bit better camera, a little bit better processor, a little bit more memory, right? Think about it like yourself like that. But if in theory, I worked at AT&T when they first released it, 2005. And if you kept the same iPhone in 2005, how well is it going to work in today's day and age? Not that well. It's been 15 years, boy. Why are you playing the same patterns, the same habits, the same people? And honestly, real talk, people probably left you because you're not willing to change or evolve. I don't know, I went so personal there, but I think you get it. Everything is always ever changing in this reality. So it's either you change to become better, Or if you stay the same, there's actually this thing. It's like you're either growing or you're dying. You're not evolving, you're actually suppressing and staying the same. And in that, you're able to maybe feel shame, guilt that everybody else is moving on, but you're not. Or maybe you're just a robot. But I think that if you're listening to this, you're not a robot. You want to evolve, you want to change, you want to become better because you truly want to give a better version to your people, whether it be to your family, friends, or even to the people that you're specifically here to serve, which is probably something like an older version of yourself. So if I'm correct, you might be Latina, you might be an entrepreneur mindset, you might be an early bodybuilder, you might be, a single parent. I don't know you, but I do know who I am. And this is why this version of myself will have to die out to be able to become the next version. And like I said, this part is probably the hardest part for most people. The second step of override, of letting go. The first part of like you becoming aware of your traumas, you becoming aware of your habits, that's probably like, okay, I know I shouldn't be smoking weed at night. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you the truth of where I'm at right now too. I tell myself, my mind says, oh, but you're such a high vibrational being. You need to settle down your mind for you to go to sleep. Okay, that's just a story my mind told me so then I could continue doing this habit that actually probably created maybe like 300 or 400 calories at nighttime that I shouldn't be eating. Okay, imagine compounding those 300-400 calories. Over time, I'm gaining weight little by little, right? This is how people gain weight. It's just these little habits, this little chocolate here, this little, nut here, whatever. Over time, everything adds up. You have to understand, just like money, just like food, it's a compound effect with time. So change your habits, change your mindset about serving and unserving. Be real with yourself. I let go of smoking weed 5 days ago. I know. It's not a long time. But truthfully, I'm starting to be like, I was playing myself, right? And I think that DJ Khaled says it, stop playing yourself. One, there's two ways to look at it. You're playing yourself in the character that you want to play or that you choose to play, right? And you're just tricking yourself into staying in that same character because you're playing. At the end of the day, it's all play. It's all fun. Enjoy the fucking journey. Don't take it so serious. Love what you do, how you cook your foods, how you learn, what pace that you learn at, the friends that you surround yourself with, and make the best choice for yourself. Do the serving choice of letting go when the time is right for you. My name's Delilah, Coach D, soon to be X, because that's my next version of myself. And that is the override. The next episode is going to be talking about the realignment. I love you guys. Take care. Peace, love, unity, and respect.